Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you? Isn't this a beautiful day?
Yeah.
I mean, to get up this morning and have the rain gone, what a blessing to have. And it's been slow and easy. It's been very beneficial. I hadn't done a lot of runoff, so I forget to keep this close to make sure that you can hear. But it is an honor to be here today and to have the General Abbott here with us and his family. We're so glad to have you here. For those of you that may not know, I'm Patty Jones, one of the Lubbock County Commissioners. And we first want to be sure to thank, is Coy here? Coy, are you out in the audience? Okay, you can see Coy back here. We want to thank Coy and the folks from here from the Wind Power Center for hosting this today. And if you haven't had a chance to look around, maybe you did some before, but be sure and take advantage of this and see the artifacts they have here, because it's a one-of-a-kind museum across the country. Again, General Abbott, we are thrilled to have you in Lubbock.
Thank you so much.
We are so glad to have you, to have your family with us. We want to say thank you for your great service that you have already given to the state of Texas and hopefully what's to come. Yes. Next one of the things we want you to know that we're here to support your campaign. We're here to help get your message across to other cities and areas in our community. And we certainly are looking forward to helping you to become the next governor of the state of Texas.
Thank you.
Before I introduce Audrey, I'm supposed to let you know that she just returned from camp. But what I was told is that General Abbott said she was the best camper there. She has that. She's going to be a junior in high school this next year. And if you haven't gathered, she's probably one of the top 2 fans of her father's, herself and his wife. It gives me great pleasure to be able to introduce Audrey Abbott, who will in turn introduce her father. So welcome, Audrey.
Thank you so much for that warm welcome. As a teen, I look for role models. I look for leaders who can provide hope and opportunity for my generation. I look for people like my dad. Daughters love to brag on their dads, and I am no exception. My dad is always there for me, whether it's taking me to school, helping me with homework, or just making me laugh. My dad dresses up in some pretty outrageous Halloween costumes, like an army tank or a grocery cart. He takes me hunting, takes me to movies, and we've gone to countless concerts together. I love my dad, but maybe more importantly, I admire him. He does more than care for me. He sets an example for me. My dad defines the word courage, to do what is right, no matter how many are against you. To be around my dad is to be inspired. To watch my dad on a daily basis is to see courage in action. He never lets challenges stop him. He simply never gives up. He's a reminder that no matter how hard life gets, never give up on your dreams. He blazed his own trail. He took the road less traveled, and he has helped lead Texas while in a wheelchair. Many people would have given up if they were in his shoes, but not my dad. He puts the needs of others before himself, constantly thinking about what others need. He will help me with my homework before taking care of his own work late into the night. He will plan a schedule to attend events like parent-teacher conferences. And he does the same thing for Texans, putting their needs first and foremost. I know that my dad will be a great leader, just like he has been a great father. He will take care of your family, just like he has taken care of mine. Please help me welcome a man I love and admire, and the man I am proud to call my dad, Attorney General Greg Abbott.
thank you all for that great, warm Lubbock welcome. It is great to be back in one of the towns that I grew up in the fabulous Lubbock, Texas, the home of wind energy in the United States of America. I want to start out by thanking my daughter Audrey for that remarkable introduction. You know, it's not all that common for a teenager to get up and introduce their dad in front of a big crowd like this. But when you think about it, it's not all that common for a teenager to even talk to their parents. So I'm so honored to have my daughter Audrey, my lovely wife here, to join us in reconnecting with Lubbock, Texas. And one of the deep connections we have actually is with Patty Jones. You see, when I graduated from undergrad school from the University of Texas, I moved to San Antonio for a few months right before Cecilia and I got married in San Antonio. After we got married, we spent our honeymoon the way most people spend their honeymoons. We loaded up a car and we drove to Lubbock, Texas. I was coming here, we got married on August the 15th. A couple of days later we left to travel out here as I began law school at Texas Tech University School of Law. It blazed the trail that allowed me to go on to be a state district judge, a Supreme Court justice, and now the Attorney General for you, the great people of the great state of Texas. But while I was at work studying at law school, my wife was at work trying to earn money to pay for our food, to pay for our rent. And she got to work at Jones Produce with Charlie Jones, with Steve Jones, and with Patty Jones, understanding what it means to work in the farming industry, in the produce industry, in an industry that works to provide the food that Texans and Americans depend upon. And I can tell you, there are no people who are more salt of the earth, genuine, great Texans than the Jones family and Patty Jones. Thank you so much for what you represent and for representing Lubbock County so great. Big hand of applause. Well, things have changed for me personally since I left Lubbock, Texas. When I was in Lubbock, Texas, I was walking around like most of the people in this room are walking around. Of course, I walk no more. The reason is because after graduating from law school, I took a job in Houston, Texas. And after moving to Houston, Texas, I did something that I did every single day. I went out for a jog. And while I was out jogging, a huge oak tree crashed down onto my back, fracturing my vertebrae into my spinal cord, leaving me immediately and permanently paralyzed. And I would never walk again. Some of you in Lubbock have heard that story, but some of you I can tell have not, because you're shaking your heads wondering, how slow was that guy jogging to get hit by a falling tree? Well, if you want to see what real love looks like, you have to look no further than my lovely wife, Cecilia. Because when you remember those wedding vows, for better or for worse, in sickness and in health, it is so easy to recite those wedding vows at the time when you're up at that altar. But it is awesome to see your spouse truly embrace those vows like Cecilia has. Cecilia, thank you so much for honoring the vows of wedding. Well, piecing my life back together begin with piecing my back together. What the doctors had to do was to literally piece my vertebrae back together. And they did that with the help of inserting 2 steel rods up and down my back to hold my vertebrae together. And those steel rods will remain in my back for the rest of my life. You know, some politicians talk about having a spine of steel. I really have a steel spine, and I will put the work for you, the people across Lubbock, and across Texas. But also after my accident, I realized something that most Texans get naturally. Understood that our lives aren't defined by how we're challenged. Instead, we get to define our lives by how we respond to the adversity that arises in our lives. And we see millions of Texans apply that very same principle every day. We see single parents trying to earn a paycheck to pay for their children and raise their kids. We see small business owners right here in Lubbock, Texas, trying to navigate the maze of regulations and taxation. And we also see seniors just trying to find a way to make ends meet. Well, all of us Texans, we share that very same common bond. We face tough challenges and we rise above them. Every single day, Texans may get knocked down, but we always get right back up. And we Texans always take on the tough fights. And that's what I've been doing for you as your Attorney General. So when the 10 Commandment monument on the Texas Capitol grounds came under attack, I defended that monument all the way to the United States Supreme Court, and we... And when your Second Amendment rights came under attack, I took the lead amongst the states and across the country to defend firearm freedom at the United States Supreme Court, and we won. If you want to start a fight with a Texan, just try taking away their freedom, and we are going to punch back. That's why, to fight against an overreaching federal government, I have sued the Obama administration 27 times. That's what I hear every day. She said, it's still not enough. I've got more bullets in my holster and I'm ready and prepared to fire more. Well, you know, you've heard that phrase, don't mess with Texas. I didn't invent that phrase, but I've applied it more than anyone else. On the very day the President signed Obamacare into law, I filed a lawsuit challenging the constitutionality of that failed medical health care plan. And we're going to keep fighting until we end Obamacare.
Yes.
We are going to continue our fight to protect federalism and to prevent the federal government from making Texas more like Washington, D.C. Instead, we're going to make the rest of America a lot more like Texas.
Yes.
I've also been fighting to protect the most vulnerable here in the state of Texas. That's why I've cracked down on crimes like human trafficking, even up here in the Panhandle.
Yeah.
It's why I put away child predators. And that's why I have fought to defend the most vulnerable unborn children. I even took the fight against the World Court. The World Court tried to intervene and prevent us from exacting the highest punishment against an illegal immigrant who came to Houston, Texas and brutally murdered 2 teenage girls. We ensured in a victory against the World Court that justice was served against that criminal, and we won at the United States Supreme Court. And of course, we defended the words, "one nation, under God," in the Pledge of Allegiance, and we won at the United States Supreme Court.